This next part of the night is a real treat for me to be able to offer to everybody here. This gentleman is one of the first people at Priceline.com, one of the first people at so many of the other companies that you've used in your life. When you go to an airport and you get your ticket out of a kiosk, you might want to thank Jeff later for that. There's a lot of other things that Jeff's been involved with that really, really inspire me. Maybe none so much as the thing that he and I were able to do together. We co-founded the Excel Center at the University of Akron in 2016, and we were very, very honored to have that opportunity. And now tonight, Jeff is going to come up and give you guys kind of a mini keynote talk. Jeff speaks all around the world at accelerators and incubators and universities and some of the biggest companies on the planet. And he talks to them about a lot of the things he's going to talk to you about tonight. But Jeff's unique take on the world is about how entrepreneurship can save cities. It can harvest economies. It can resurrect places that most people would write off and think are finished for life, and entrepreneurship can bring them back around. He even has a theory that entrepreneurship can actually solve Middle East peace. I'll let him tell you more about that. But in essence, Jeff is going to talk about how entrepreneurship and seizing your own destiny can allow you to design your life, and you can do anything you want. And so for the next 5 days, the people that ride the bus and people that have already ridden the bus know this, and the entrepreneurs in the room certainly know this. This is the kind of liberating take on the world that can allow you to do absolutely anything you want, and you can do it again and again and again. So following Jeff's talk, we're going to have a panel where we're going to talk a little bit more about the nature of startups and the Akron ecosystem. But for right now, please put your hands together for my very good friend, Mr. Jeff Hoffman.
All right, so where are the entrepreneurs? Who's going on the bus? You're going on the bus. Who else? Anybody else back there? Raise their hand. You're going on the bus. You are. Who else over here? All right, I just want to make sure, because the people on the bus is really who I'm talking to. That's what I came by to do. I will say I'll do my best. I just got out of a Vietnamese hospital, which is a story. If you guys have any moment that you're uncomfortable on the bus, I will send you pictures of my room in a Vietnamese hospital, and you will feel liberated. We just did, I kind of want to just share 2 points with you guys today. One is the fundamental belief, Ian just told you that, you know, on the wall in my office, when you come in, there's a big giant sign that says, if you want to make the world a better place, unleash an army of entrepreneurs. Because entrepreneurs make things better. They are the true problem solvers in the world. Governments do their best. Big companies do their best at their speed. But entrepreneurs are the people that truly make change and innovate all over. And in fact, testing that theory, that's why I came here to Akron, and Ian and I, that's why we launched the Excel Center, to try to create more spaces for entrepreneurs. But 2 weeks ago, I was in Greece. We did an event called Disrupt Greece. As you guys know, Greece is having problems. So what we did was hi Courtney, we rounded up all the entrepreneurs in Greece and said, the government can't do it, you guys fix it. And it was an amazing week of entrepreneurs rebuilding Greece. And then last week we did the same thing in Vietnam. So I was traveling across Vietnam. Vietnam is in a phase of rebuilding itself. And we did the same thing. We rounded up entrepreneurs from all over Vietnam and said, just design the future of the country. Unfortunately, I got food poisoning. So I literally just came from my doctor today. I wound up in a Vietnamese hospital after the food poisoning, and then flew back here to Ohio and went to my doctor in Cleveland, and got up and got dressed to come see you guys because I told Ian I would today. But so I think that's the first thing that I want to touch on, is the fact that entrepreneurs really are the solution. We have been doing this all over this country, and we have been doing this all over the world. I am on the board and a partner in a couple organizations. The biggest one now is called the Global Entrepreneurship Network. We now have 172 countries that we've networked together that are literally just gathering their entrepreneurs to make the world a better place, to solve social problems, to solve economic problems, to create jobs, to create value, to make things better. And they do that, which is our hope for you guys, that you come up with solutions that fix something or make something better. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then the other organization, I'm also a partner in a nonprofit that's called the Unreasonable Group that does the same thing. We collect entrepreneurs and startups from around the world and focus them. For example, we just signed, very, very proud of this, we just signed an agreement. The United Nations has its 17 sustainable goals, and they signed a partnership with us, and we are conducting 17 boot camps around the world where we're going to collect the best entrepreneurs on the entire planet who are solving each of the United Nations 17 sustainable goals. We just did our first one, and we'll go through all 17 goals and find entrepreneurs in the world who are going to solve the UN 17 goals by 2030. So entrepreneurs are the answer. That's why we're here. That's why StartupBus exists, right? That's why so many of these efforts exist. So, you know, no pressure, but we are counting on you guys. We do believe in, there's a lot of people in this room. For you that are going on the bus, I'm really proud to say, there's a lot of people in this room that are here just to support you. We came to wish you well, to kind of be the ecosystem around you, to make sure that you had every chance to succeed, right? And, you know, Ian already mentioned that, but Roger and Phil here, there are people that take money out of their pockets to create events like this and opportunities and just make sure that all of us have every chance to increase your odds of success on this trip. Ian went on the trip last year, so I was getting the regular text talking, and then we met out in Silicon Valley with some of the people that were on the Akron bus at the end of the trip as well. I was going to try to meet you guys in New Orleans next week, but after the tests I had at the hospital today, I'm grounded for the next 2 weeks from travel after the hospital treatment and some of the things they did to me over there. So I just found out today I'm not going anywhere for 2 weeks, which actually is a blessing since I'm usually in a different country every week. Here's probably the main thing that I want to talk about, which Ian mentioned to you, and that is the power of ideas. And the fact that 5 minutes, let alone 5 days, 5 minutes can change your life. Like when we were just talking, you said clearly, I'm a designer and I don't know what's coming for me. I don't know what I'm getting into. I don't know what's going to happen on the bus. But you know what? That's okay. Because it only takes one idea, right? One moment that can not only change the course of your life, but change everybody else's. And the beauty of being an entrepreneur is that entrepreneurs are idea farmers. We harvest ideas. We plant seeds everywhere we can. But then you got to water them and feed them and give them sunshine and nutrition. You know what that is? That's the bus. Everybody on the bus is there. That is your nutrition, right? That is your water and sun and seed. Everybody around you on your team is there to increase the odds that any one idea is going to make it. But again, the power of an idea. The other thing is I don't think there's any more unstoppable force in the world than an idea. When you hear a good idea, you can't stop it anymore. When a good idea is out there, you can't sleep until that thing gets done. It's all you can think about, dream about, and talk about until it gets built. When you hit on a good idea, amazing things happen. And I'll use a much less noble example, but how quickly an idea can change your life. And that's what we want from you guys to realize, that you know, going on this bus is that opportunity. You have all these days to hit on that one idea that could be life-changing. So what you got to do is open your mind and don't edit. Let it flow. We always talk about this all the time. In fact, for those of you who don't know, the way that I met Ian a decade ago, I have a music company, and Ian was a rocker. Ian was in a rock and roll band, performing on tour, and they came to my music company and asked them to sign him. But what I liked about Ian's artist side of his personality is it thought wide open, right? He's an artist. Just let it flow. That is the kind of thinking you guys need to have on the bus. Don't overrule anything. In fact, if you don't come up with 100 insanely stupid ideas when you say, I'm actually not laughing with you, I am laughing at you, okay? If that doesn't happen, you're not trying hard enough. You've got to let the crazy fly, and you've got to let ideas flow. Nobody judges anybody on the bus. Nobody judges anybody in the startup world. The craziest ideas, when you do that kind of ideation, 99 things in a row are just silly. And you can't believe you said that. And we are, like I said, laughing at you. But then you're laughing at the next person after that. And then the 100th one stops the bus. And everybody says literally, wait, what did you just say? And the person says, I don't even know, man. I was just letting it fly. And you say, oh, my God, that is brilliant. And those are the ideas that change your life. Your job is to harvest ideas, plant seeds. Keep in mind, we already know that a lot of the ideas, you're going to say, well, it sounded like a good idea. But now that we spent the last 3 hours in the bus talking about it, there's no way it would ever work. So let's move on to the next one. Accept that as part of the process and keep letting them fly. And when you hear a good one, you know what to do. Form teams. Every one of us has something you can add to every team, right? Whether you are design, art, finance, marketing, science, whatever you are, for an idea to go from idea to reality in the world, it takes one of every one of those people. No one person has ever built anything that mattered in the world. They've come up with the idea, but the reason they succeeded was because they surrounded themselves with people smarter than them and everything they didn't know. So part of your job on the bus at the beginning is share your strengths, but be honest about your weaknesses. So when teams are forming, I'm not going to ask you, if you tell me design's my thing, I won't ask you to do the finance. But if someone else says, I don't know engineering, but man, do I know numbers, you've got to form teams, and you get that opportunity. You guys are lucky because you're getting the San Francisco, the Silicon Valley team, is that right, correct, Ian? That's correct. Joining you on the bus. So you're doubling up resources to build. We'll see how many teams it breaks into. Let me go back to one idea can change your life. First of all, for those of you going on the bus that don't have an idea yet, what ideas, you don't have an idea. Last year, some people on the bus got on the bus and they already had an idea. And they were just looking for people to help them build it. That happened. And there were some people on the bus that had no idea for sure why they were going on the bus yet and didn't have an idea. But the best place to start, if you don't, is real problems. And it always amazes me when we look at startups all over the world, including many I've looked at right here in Akron, that I see so many solutions looking for a problem. People say, hey, I invented this thing, isn't that cool? And you say, what's it for? And they say, I don't know, hopefully somebody will use it for something. Okay? As opposed to the fact that every day when you're in the world, there are problems everywhere you go. And you know, here's the difference between entrepreneurs and everybody else. Everybody else goes home and complains. How was your day, dear? It was horrible. I had to run an errand at lunch. It should have taken an hour. Those idiots made me stand in line for 3 hours. And you're standing there thinking, how on earth can this take 3 hours? These people are morons. There has to be a better way. And when you go home, you complain. You tweet out your status is irritated. You post that I'm in a bad mood because these people are idiots and it took 3 hours. And then what do? Everybody else goes back to work. What do entrepreneurs do that's different? Entrepreneurs say, wait. There really does have to be a better way. And entrepreneurs look around and say, does this bother you guys too? Because if this is a real problem affecting a lot of people, entrepreneurs are the ones who can't let go, right? Then they do another thing. If they determine it's a real problem and it impacts a lot of people, entrepreneurs do a second thing. They then do the research. Guys, is there a way to fix this? Could we be the ones to solve this problem? And if the answer is yes, and no one's done it, entrepreneurs do a third thing that no one else does. They say, you guys go home without me. I'm not leaving till this is fixed, right? And then that's the nights you can't sleep. It's 3 in the morning and you know it's too early, but you might as well get up anyway because you can't sleep. All you can think about is solving this problem. That's the mode. We're hoping you guys latch on to one of those and looking at real problems. So I will just quickly tell you one that changed my life. It's not very noble, but I'll tell you the results wound up being. And what I mean by that is we didn't cure cancer or feed people. It was just a product. But the success it created literally enabled us to feed people. And it was the moment. So at that time, I was an engineer, 23 years old and unemployed. I worked for a big engineering company. I hated it and I quit. Everybody's yelling at me. I can't pay my bills. I don't have any food and I don't want to ask for it because everybody has told me what an idiot I was to quit my good job at the engineering company. So if I tell them, look, okay, fine, can you just feed me? I just don't want to go there. I want to figure this thing out. So I was at so my life is the worst it could be at this point. Unemployed, 20-something, and everybody thinks I'm an idiot, parents included. And so far, all the data shows that they're right. I got no argument. So I go to I buy a ticket to go see, I didn't have Roger and Phil, but I had somebody like that. Actually, his name was Roger, my mentor. And I said, I need to go see him. So I scraped up my money, bought an airline ticket, went to the airport. I went on a Friday afternoon. The line was a mile long. And it was, I missed the flight. It took 1 hour to get to the front. When I got to the front, I was very irritated. I said, how does it take an hour? And I'm already yelling at the lady. And she goes, next. And they take your ID, they look at your name, and they hit one button, print. They give you a boarding pass. And I was like, seriously? And she said, calm down. I said, I stood here for an hour so you could hit print on a printer? She said, you have to have a boarding pass to get on a plane. I said, I get that, but it's a printer, and we're all standing in line so you can push print. She said, you can't go through security without a boarding pass. And I said, this is ridiculous. But everybody complained, grabbed there. In fact, The guy in front of me grabbed his boarding pass and said, I will never fly this freaking airline again as long as I live. And she goes, see you next Friday. And he said, fine. Right? Because everybody goes back to their life. But I stood there and I said, this is not okay. And so I didn't recognize then the entrepreneurial DNA. But I said, I turned to everybody in the line. And I said, does this bother you guys? We're standing here for an hour so she can use a printer? And everybody groaned. You know, I always tell people, what we teach on campuses and in entrepreneurship school is market research. What I did was groan research. If they groan, that many people groan that loud, there's probably a product here. Okay, that wasn't very scientific. But then I did that second part. I started asking people, because the second thing that you guys got to think of, by the way, we did have this on some of the buses, where people had a really cool idea, but it wasn't a business. And let me tell you the difference between a cool idea and a business. It's called value equation. And value equation is really simple. Will the world pay you more than it costs you for your product? This thing you want to do, are there enough people that will pay you more than it's costing you? So here's what by the way, if they won't, guess what you have? You have a hobby, okay? Hobbies are things that we pay to do. If you want to pay yourself to go make one of those, fine, that's your hobby. But if you want a business, somebody in the world needs to be able to pay you more. So at that moment, I said, this problem is, I'm not walking away. And I said to people in line, I said, would any of you pay me $5 if I could give you your boarding pass right now and you would skip the line? Everybody in the line started raising their hand. In the back of the line, people were yelling, $15, $20. And I said, okay, this is a business. So I did that third thing. I figuratively said, you guys wait here because I'll be back. That Friday, even though I was unemployed and broke and everybody yelling at me, I said, I own this one, which is what we want you to do. I found an idea to fix something in the world. I own this. And I started one of my first companies ever that Friday. And we designed and patented, we invented, now when you go to an airport, you check in at a kiosk and get your own boarding pass. We invented those pretty much, started selling them. Good news, every single airport on the planet wanted them. So it turns out we had a product people would pay for. In fact, I thought I was going to charge you guys like an ATM. Don't you think it's crazy that an ATM saves the bank employees, marble lobbies, benefits, right? It saves them a fortune and you pay $3 to use it? You're paying the bank for the right to save them money. That's pretty good marketing. So I was going to do that. The bank should pay you for not coming in because that's the economic formula. But it turned out we were saving the airlines and the airport so much money, they said, forget it, we'll just buy the machines. That was the first problem that I ever took ownership of and solved. And it was life-changing, which is what Ian and I are hoping for you guys. Somebody hits on a problem. I dropped everything. I really didn't sleep again until those things were built. I'm not a money guy. I never cared. Yes, I wanted to eat and pay my bills. I don't hate money. But that's not what I dream about every day. But you know what happened? We sold our first company. Again, never been financially focused, but 3.5 years later, we sold the company for over $100 million. Again, it's not internet money, but if you're 20-something and broke, it's not a bad exit either to do that. And not only did it change my life in that way, but it enabled me to fix the other problems that I saw. That's the relationship. So I'll just give you guys a really quick example that I haven't shared. When I was in this hospital in Vietnam just days ago, you just telling this story for the first time, there was, they don't have food. There was a little thing that said breakfast on the table, and I picked it up. And I said, what do they serve here? You know what the note said? It basically said, breakfast, you should get you some. Okay? And I said, what does this mean? They said, we don't really have food or facilities in the hospital. We recommend people get a family member to bring them food. So, you know what? Why I work so hard and what solving a problem enables you to do, fixing a problem that a lot of people value. I did something. I rounded up a group of Vietnamese people and I said, do me a favor. I said, take this pile of cash and go get food for everybody. I just sent an army of people out and I said, just go bring back enough food to fill this place. And you know what? If I didn't solve a problem in the world, if I was still a broke engineer, I would have never been able to do that. So it's all the ripple effect. Find a problem. Solve a problem. It changes your life. It enables you to be able to change the lives of so many people around you. Now I'm very blessed that I'm able to do what I do now. I just go country by country mentoring and teaching entrepreneurs so they can feed themselves, so we don't have to buy them food in the future. I wouldn't be able to do that either if it weren't for entrepreneurship. And I wouldn't have continued to be an entrepreneur my whole life if I didn't let the crazy fly pick a problem and then go solve it. So that's what you guys are here for. That's our hope. Ian and I have been talking about this at length this week. We want you guys to think about the problems in the world around you. We want you to pick them. We want you to own them, but we want you to realize the opportunity that you have these next 5 days on this bus. That's just getting there, right? The whole rest of this trip, though, but especially the first 3 days of ideation and creation, is you literally have the chance to change the course of your life. One idea in 5 minutes might change the rest of your history. And it might impact so many other people because you did something that was successful. That puts you in a position to help so many other people in so many ways. So relish this opportunity. And, you know, I'm going to say this, Ian. After a couple days in the bus is somewhat less fun than it was the first hour. We get that. I called Ian and I said, how are you today? It was silent for a minute. And I said, I don't know how many hours is this on the bus? And Ian politely said, enough. But what I want you to think instead is every hour that goes by, that next hour might be the one where that brilliant idea hits. So instead of complaining about them or worrying about it or counting them down, treasure the time you got. You're on a bus with a whole bunch of smart people, literally with the freedom to come up with anything you want. So treasure that time, use it. Run a lot of ideas around. Think about if they're ideas that you can own. Think about if you can build a team to solve them. Think about if it's an idea that the world will value and pay you to solve, if it's a real business. But if it is, I can't wait to hear the results. I literally can't wait to find out that some company was created on this bus, on this trip, that winds up changing all your lives and all the lives of the people and the ripple effect downstream for you guys. So have fun, and I'll be looking forward to hearing the results. Thanks, Ian.